So the GFL draft has just wrapped up, and I just wanted to talk about some of the weird stuff that has gone on with the GFL. So firstly, let's just start off with the big elephant in the room. The GFL was just making up signings at one point. They were saying, "Oh, this guy's eligible for our draft. This guy's eligible for our draft." ACA bantamweight Tima Valiev just completely denied that. This is not true. I not sign. So I did need to mention that. They also tried to say that Stephen Costello was signed to them when he is booked to an exclusive contract with Eternal MMA for his next fight against David Martinez. That was also out there. So that was just, there was some weird stuff going on. But they did the draft, and let me just say it was really weird. It was a very long, drawn-out draft that not only did it, take forever, but there was a lot of AI. We had a lot of AI involved in it. They were like dressed as superheroes or something. It was really weird. It was some really crazy stuff. But let's just go and break down the teams here. So this is Team Sao Paulo and Team New York. They got the women fighters. Sun Sao's coming out of retirement for this. Henan Barao. I'll believe Henan Barao fights when it happens. Henan Barao has been booked about 20 times the last couple of years since he left the UFC, with almost every promotion under the sun. So we'll see if that actually happens. I think he has fought once since the UFC, since he left the UFC, but I could be wrong. Yeah, he did. He fought Walter Zamora in 2023 for Ferra Championship. He also lost an exhibition fight to Samao Piaxoto. I don't know who this guy is. He looks really big though, so I'm not sure what they fought out. But yeah, he lost to that guy. So yeah, I'll believe that happens when it happens. Julia Arce is also being involved. Patricky Pitbull, not Patricio. Patricky signed with them. Alex Oliveira has been signed. Alan Patrick is a middleweight, which is interesting. He fought in the UFC as a lightweight. Douglas Lima is a pretty good signing. Carlos Jr. Shogun is out of retirement, which is awful. Just awful. We're probably going to get him versus OSP in a trilogy if I had to guess, which is going to be absolutely awful. That last fight they had was one of the worst. Vadum is in there, who apparently has like a brain cyst or something. So that's also really interesting. Then looking at Holly Holm, she's signed. Oh, I didn't even realize Lena Jujua has been signed. Obviously, she's probably been signed for her looks, not her talent, because, she's lost a lot of fights, but she is a very beautiful woman. Jimmy Rivera, pretty good signing. Kevin Lee, that's a big one. Oh yeah, Tyron Woodley was the first person signed, by the way. He was the number one pick. I don't know why. That would be your number one pick. Tyron Woodley, 7-fight losing streak in boxing and MMA. Brutally knocked out by Jake Paul like 3 years ago, who's also 42 years old. Very, very silly signing in my opinion, but still. Neiman Gracie has been signed. Dylan Dennis, this is a pretty big signing because Dylan Dennis isn't like some washed up guy, or depends on your how you look at washed up. He is a fresh face. He's not been in the UFC. He's only 2-0 in MMA, but he fought in Bellator, so he's been under the bright lights. But his potential opponents like Alex Oliveira. He's got a lot of veteran people with a lot more experience than Dylan Dennis. But pretty cool signing. I'd love to see him versus Abuka Nurmagomedov, who was also signed to another team. I think he was signed to Dubai. So I'd love to see that fight. Obviously, they were both involved in the UFC 229 brawl. And, they're both training partners of Habib and Conor McGregor, so why not do it? That'd be interesting. That'd be a pretty cool backstory, That would be a good build-up. And it would build some pretty good name recognition for the GFL. Because I feel like the GFL is just going to do a lot of shitty rematches that nobody wants to see. I'm just going to be real. But still, anyway. Team London, this is just pretty much all the Europeans. Danny Roberts don't put him against Lorenz Larkin. He will die. Like, I'm just going to put that out there. Lorenz Larkin will take this man and really badly hurt him. Tyron Woodley could beat Danny Roberts. That is a winnable fight. Tyron Woodley could, if he moves forward, he would beat Danny Roberts. But would he move forward is the big question. Norman Park, he's been fighting on the freak show scene lately, so that's pretty cool to see him here. Gegard Mousasi is a pretty good signing. We could see him versus Yoel Romero potentially, which would be a pretty good fight. Rebellis de Spain has been signed. Team Miami is pretty much just all American top team. Like, these are all American top team fighters besides like Pettis and Stevens. But Lombard, Romero, JDS. I think de Spain fights for American top team. I could be wrong on that. Santos does. Lins does. T-Bow does. So yeah, a lot of American top team in the Team Miami. Then we have Team Dubai. Team Dubai is OP. They have a really good team in my opinion. Fane Masquita is a really good prospect from Australia. She's a pretty good women's fighter. Then there's Timo Valia. He said he's not signed, so I'm not sure what's going on with this. He's quite literally said himself he's not signed. He's not fighting for them. That was like 9 hours ago, so we'll see what happens there. But to me, Ismail Agulov, he's going to do pretty well, I reckon. It's either him or Kevin Lee, who I think will probably win. Musavev was a bit overhyped. I don't think he's going to, be the champion. But he could, you never know. Ubakar, do him versus Danis. Tyron Woodley, you could also do him versus Danis. Derek Brunson's a pretty big signing, if you want to say that. Like, he's a big name. Luke Rockhold. Oh my god, this is how we're going to get it. This is how we're going to get Chris Weidman versus Luke Rockhold too. It's going to be in the GFL, isn't it? Oh yeah. Chris Weidman's back. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, Chris Weidman's back. He retired from the UFC, not MMA. So yeah, it made him seem like he was retired for competition, but no, he's back a week later. So yeah. Oh, and Olenek got signed, and Alan Belcher, who was beating up people in Misfits and stuff like that. But yeah, going back to it, I think Team Dubai. To be fair, Woodley I don't think is going to succeed very well. I don't think Woodley's going to do too well. Omar Akhmedov. Oh my god, we might get him versus Rashad Evans. Like, this is so weird to think about the potential fights we could get. If we actually get a cut, we could get Gustafsson versus Rashad Evans. Gustafsson's a bit younger, but Rashad is African American, and as you know, Gustafsson, all of his losses are to African American guys. Not even just black guys, just specifically African American guys give Gustafsson the most trouble. So that'd be interesting. Frank Mir is signed. I don't like that personally. Like, who is Frank Mir going to fight? Stuart Austin, Tanner Bosa, Rebellis de Spain. Like, there is some weird fights you could get out of this. I want them to just go full freak show. Give us the weirdest possible fights you could get out of this. But yeah, I found this also very interesting. This is the faces of the Global Fight League. This is the champions. Thankfully, Vanderlei is just a coach. Contenders, and then they had Rising Stars. That is Phil Hawes. Phil Hawes has been knocked out like 4 times in a row. He's not a rising star. But yeah, I want to see Phil Hawes versus Luke Rockhold. Both of them don't have the greatest chins. I reckon that'd be hilarious to see Phil Hawes versus Luke Rockhold. Or if you want to just kill him, you could do Yoel Romero versus Phil Hawes. Like, this is scary as a Phil Hawes enjoyer. Like, I do actually like Phil Hawes fighting. Like, he's a good fighter. He's a very skilled guy. He just doesn't have a good chin. But there are some nightmare matchups for him. Maybe do him versus Alan Patrick. I think he would whoop Alan Patrick. He's a lightweight. Surely he wouldn't get chin there. Douglas Lima. Gegard Mousasi. You got to do him versus, like, Yoel Romero. That's, like, the big money fight. They haven't fought before. Big fight. To Spain, I think you do him versus like Todd Duffy. That seems like it'd be a war. Both powerful guys. That seems like that'd be a big fight. Maybe to Spain versus Arlovsky. That'd be interesting. Surprised he's not on the Miami team. Frank Mir, you could do him versus like Stuart Austin. Both grapplers. But Frank Mir is so washed. For Doom, has he fought Frank Mir before? Frank Mir versus the Doom. Surely that's happened before. That'd be a good fight. They've never fought before. They're both pretty washed. You could do Frank Mir versus Fabricio Verdum. If you're going to have these old guys fight, why not do that? Or you could do Olenek versus Frank Mir. Like, I'm trying to think of the ways where we can get these guys out of there without brutally getting KO'd in their old age. Because there are some real old guys in here. As for Tony Ferguson, don't let him fight Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee does not deserve to avenge that win. Tito Ortiz versus Chuck Liddell style, okay? Do not do that fight. For the love of God, please no. Just please don't let Tony Ferguson's legacy get more tarnished than it is. Do Tony Ferguson versus like Jeremy Stevens or something like that. Benson Henderson, just don't let Kevin Lee get his lick back, please, for God's sake. Kevin Lee versus Damir Ismagulov. That's the fight to make. They're the two biggest guys. Or you do Kevin Lee versus Mustavev. Sage Northcutt you could do him versus Kevin Lee. Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall versus Luke Rockhold. I remember they had like a pretty tense sparring match a while ago. Or I think there was beef between them. That'd be pretty interesting. But yeah, there are some interesting fights you could make of this. The women's roster is looking pretty rough. Oh, there's Cynthia Cavillo, the Hex women's champion who came and destroyed one of Australia's female prospects. She's here. Kat Zingano. Paige Van Zandt, she just fights in everything there is. Marlon Moraes. Why is Marlon Moraes fighting? For God's sake, the man's been knocked out 7 times in a row. Why is he in this? I guess you could do Moraes versus Henan Barral or something like that, but for God's sake. Marlon Moraes, what a fall off. Maybe you could do versus Rivera. I think they've fought before, haven't they? Yeah, they have. Moraes knocked him out he knocked him out in 30 seconds. I remember that. Maybe he can. Oh my God, he's gonna ruin his legacy even more. He's gonna get his fucking lick back too. This is pretty much just guys wanting their losses back, pretty much, because I see that is gonna happen a lot. Now, light heavyweight. Oh, Latifi. Why would you sign Latifi? To be fair, Latifi's not entertaining, but this is so weird. It's so weird when we got guys just cut out of the UFC, and then you got these very aged legends who haven't fought for years. But I'm interested to see how that plays out. Generally, I am. I hope they do get an event and everything. I hope they succeed. But I don't know if this format's going to do very well long term. But we can only hope. The more competition, the better for the UFC, better for MMA, better for the fans. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this plays out. JDS, if we're going to get JDS with Tanner Bosa or something like that, that would never be a fight on the prelims, let alone... JDS could just destroy everybody, to be fair. But he also did tear his arm out of his socket against... Oh, who's that? Cape Verde. The guy from Cape Verde. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Cape Verde, MMA fighter. Jorgen De Castro. He did technically lose to Jorgen De Castro. But I can't imagine his arm's going to pull out of his socket again randomly. So, yeah, anyway, interested to see how this plays out. I don't have high hopes this is going to last very long. I don't know where they're getting the money from, but a man can hope. The competition would be good. Uriah Faber, they had that he was a lightweight, but he's actually a bantamweight. You could do Faber versus Marlon Moraes. That'd be interesting. I think he would probably win at this point. But still interesting. Chad Mendes is signed. He said he'd never fight in MMA again. He said that last BKFC fight was his last fight. So they must be getting good money because here he is in MMA again. But yeah, there's some good fights for him. Mike Grundy's back. I remember Mike Grundy said he was going to retire, but no, he's back. Alex Oliveira, we already talked about him. So yeah, just pretty much a lot of wash fighters besides Dylan Dennis, who hasn't really achieved much in MMA. So this could be his shining moment. He could go in there and he could just beat all these guys and show he's on that top level, at least with his jiu-jitsu. Or he could just get destroyed, which is a win-win because that'll go viral. That'll be a big moment for the GFL. If he keeps winning, it'll be big, and if he loses, it's big. So this is a good signing if he actually fights. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give me your thoughts on the GFL, and I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and give me your thoughts. Goodbye.